Hello, and welcome back to this week's SNHS Podcast. My name is Kayla, and I'm here with my partner,
Fabiola.
and today we're going over to B.12e, which is a part of the ecology section. So for our table of contents, we have our warm-up, then we're going over our learning objectives, then we're going to the concept and what's it about, and then everybody's going to apply that concept, and then we're going to do a mini quiz, and then finally, we're going to do a quick summary of what we've learned. So for our warm-up, which of the following is most likely to cause the greatest destruction to an ecosystem? Pause the video right now and try to figure out which answer choice best fits. Okay, now the answer is going to be A. Emptying an aquarium containing non-native species into a local waterway. This is the right answer because non-native species disrupt the ecosystem the most as they mess up the whole flow and how everything goes. So for our learning objectives, we're doing B.12e as stated before, it's ecology, and everybody's going to describe how environmental change can impact an ecosystem's stability. At the end of this lesson, students will be able to understand how environmental changes impact stability in an ecosystem, and you will be able to provide an example of this impact. Moving on to the main portion of our TEAC, changes in the environment that affect an ecosystem stability can be caused by nature and or human causes. Some of the examples can be climate change. Climate change is like long shifts in temperature, precipitation patterns, and other things that affect the climate. This is mainly caused by humans, and even at times it can be natural causes, but this all disrupt an ecosystem and its flow. There's also habitat destruction. Habitat destructions can completely wipe out an entire ecosystem, and it must have to bounce back from this and build stuff up again from basically nothing. Pollution can also impact an ecosystem as it can make ecosystems very dirty and sometimes uninhabitable. Invasive species can also disrupt ecosystems as it, again, as stated before in the warm-up, it can mess up the flow of everything, and like the whole food chain can be thrown off and everything. So these changes can be positive or negative. It depends on how the ecosystem reacts to these changes and adapts. So some ecological impacts that can occur is a loss of biodiversity. Each species plays a unique role in maintaining ecosystem functions, so the key loss of species can disrupt these functions. This can be like if the main predator is taken out, then there can be an overpopulation of all the other animals, which can they can eat like all the food that's left over, like plants. If there's a lot of predators, herbivores will most likely overrule the area, then all the plants will die, then they'll have no food. There can be also altered species interactions. It can disrupt the interactions between species within an ecosystem, such as predation, competition, and mutualism. There can also be increased vulnerability to disturbances. It can make an ecosystem more vulnerable to natural causes like wildfires, storms, and disease outbreaks. However, the more diverse the community is, the more resilient it is, and it will be able to bounce back from this disturbance, which causes many of the organisms to adapt and grow. So, species thrive in certain environments, and based on their adaptations, this is where, again, natural selection comes into play. An example of this can be Arctic animals have thick white fur to help them survive in cold, harsh climates. An example of this can be harmful chemicals from weed killers leak into the local sewage system and into the watershed. Chemicals directly impact aquatic ecosystems and terrestrial ecosystems.
For applying the concept, describe an event that will negatively affect an ecosystem and its stability. I said, taking down all the trees in a forest will negatively affect the ecosystem and its stability. Now we're moving on to our mini quiz. The graph to the right shows the change in the number of species in an ecosystem. These data are indicative of what type of ecological succession. Describe a scenario that would be represented by these data. The graph is indicative of secondary succession. Before 1880, there was approximately 300 different species in this ecosystem. In 1880, an ecological disturbance, such as a wildfire, wiped out most of the species. The data shows about 10 species survived the disaster. Over the next 10 years, from 1880 to 1900, the ecosystem starts recovery, increasing in species diversity every year. By 1900, approximately 175 species inhabit the area. If this trend continues, the ecosystem will recover over the next 10 years. While the species may not be exactly the same, there will be richness in species diversity again. For the next question, we have which of the following best describes the scenario of environmental change in an ecosystem over time? Please take a moment to answer the question. The correct answer is A. Gradual increase in average temperature leading to the expansion of a warm adaptive species range. Now moving on to the next question, we have which of the following shows the biggest change in an ecosystem? Please pause the video and answer the question. The correct answer is B. Large-scale deforestation causing the loss of habitat for numerous species. For the summary, we have environmental changes can be a product of temperature shifts, habitat destruction, introduction of invasive species, or pollution. Any change can disrupt the delicate balance within ecosystems.
Okay, now please take the time to fill out this QR code. Thank you so much for watching this week's SNHS Podcast. Check out the channel for more videos. We hope to see you again. Thank you.